Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In my district and across the state of Pennsylvania, we are rooted in the heart of the Marcellus Shale. I've seen new access to cheap natural gas prices lower my constituents' heating and electricity bills, bring new manufacturing to our area, and save jobs at power plants that would have been shut down by the President's war on coal. During the height of the Marcellus Shale boom, we had more than 1,000 wells drilled, but no way to move the gas to markets. That's like being in college and having a keg of beer without a tap. Still, energy costs in surrounding states remain high and have not been able to take advantage of the cheap energy in the Marcellus Shale because of the lack of pipeline infrastructure. Now, in my district, we have multiple pipelines in the process of being built, and this has raised my constituents' awareness of both the new and old pipelines in their communities. Ms. Campbell, you mentioned significant investment in repair and replacement programs that focus on updating the old cast iron infrastructure. Can you explain the steps natural gas companies are taking to ensure that the pipeline infrastructure that is already in the ground is safe?
Certainly. It kind of comes in a lot of different categories. It depends on what service it's under. But effectively, there's a pretty rigorous process of inspection. Transmission lines have a very prescriptive process that we go through to ensure that they're safe. And when you find an issue or problem, they're classified to be repaired immediately or during a certain time period. For our distribution systems, there are regular requirements for inspection, leak surveys, for instance, cathodic protection surveys, things of that nature. And again, pipeline companies, operators take action based on what they see. In a number of instances, companies go above and beyond those minimum requirements. When you believe you have an issue or a risk that needs to be addressed, we might, for instance, do additional surveys, leak surveys. We might proactively replace pipeline. We also, by the way, watch carefully what PHMSA puts out on its websites and watch what other companies are finding, lessons learned from other companies, and investigate our own infrastructure and determine whether or not we need to take proactive action based on the results of those other issues.
Thank you. Administrator, at a field hearing last September in Billings, Montana on pipeline safety, you stated that PHMSA would issue a proposed rulemaking on the safety of natural gas transmission by the end of 2015. While that deadline wasn't met, I was glad to read in your testimony that you are moving forward with this rule and that it should be complete within a month, which I take it to mean March 25th, 2016. Is that correct?
We are working diligently on it, and I really do hope that it's out within the next few weeks here.
Now, my constituents, energy companies, and I, we all need these deadlines to be met and for PHMSA to issue its guidance so that we can be confident in the quality of our energy infrastructure safely. How are you prioritizing this and other rules in light of the action needed to respond to recent incidents, as well as the many new and ongoing pipeline projects in Pennsylvania and across the country?
Thank you for the question. We have, as I stated in my testimony, completing the requirements of the 2011 Act are absolutely a priority for PHMSA. We are addressing some of the most significant ones, first including the hazardous liquid rule, which we've moved last fall, and now with the gas transmission rule are doing the same. That said, there's always ongoing emerging risk that is identified in different ways. Just recently, underground storage is clearly on the table now, given the incident in Aliso Canyon. So the bottom line is that PHMSA actually needs to not only be an agency that addresses risk, we actually need to be more forward-thinking and be able to identify some of these emerging trends before they actually occur. And part of the PHMSA 2021 strategy is actually to make sure that we have those capabilities in place. We're able to move forward with some aggressive rulemaking and do it in a timely way.
And quickly, for those of you in the private sector building infrastructure right now, have you made your long-term capital infrastructure plans absent the guidelines that has continually been delayed, and when you don't know the regulatory challenges down the road? And we'll have to be quick because my time's expiring here.
Might I respond to that, Mr. Barletta?
Sure.
We are committed to our safety commitments and goal of zero incidents. By the same token, I think there is some risk when you do not have the standards out there. For example, some of the testing that must be done is expensive. It requires taking pipelines out of service, and there is the risk that, for example, a pipeline company might test pursuant to the voluntary program and then find out when PHMSA puts out the rules that it needs to repeat that because it didn't quite meet it. So I think that having that certainty of knowing that what we are committed to do is consistent with what PHMSA will require of us and the rules, I think would be very helpful.
Thank you, Mr. Barletta.